Ladies and gentlemen, this is Big Ray's Wrestling Show. You know me, I'm the Mark of the Masses, the man with the plan. Big Ray here to stay to talk some TNA today. This is TNA Final Resolution 2013. Guys, we've been following this tournament for the last couple of weeks, and it's finally down to two people. We have Jeff Hardy, and we have Magnus. Now, if you guys follow my show, you know from the get-go, you know from weeks and weeks, and maybe even months ago, I always felt that eventually Magnus would be TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Would this be his first step to or towards becoming TNA World Heavyweight Champion, or would he actually finally meet the fate that I've actually predicted on multiple occasions, that he would be the World Heavyweight Champion? We'll jump right into the show, and we opened the show with a video package, basically showing AJ Styles as he became the World Heavyweight Champion and left the company. We quickly go to the ring, and we have Magnus, and Magnus basically is talking about loving this business. He explains how when he first came to the United States, he needed to adjust a little bit, and it has nothing to do. I mean, the money's great, so he says, and it has nothing to really do with the money. He said that it's about pride, it's about honor, it's about dignity, respect, so on and so forth. And then he begins to bury Jeff Hardy, stating that he doesn't feel that Jeff Hardy may be on the up and up. So Jeff Hardy actually comes to the ring. His music basically hits, and Jeff Hardy, they have a little bit of stare down, and Magnus brought up the whole 10-10-10 thing, and this is basically when Jeff Hardy turned heel and actually became the World Heavyweight Champion. And long story short, Jeff Hardy basically says, look man, you don't know me, you don't know what I've been through. Yeah, I make bad decisions, and Jeff Hardy says, you know what, don't worry about me, worry about your damn self. Well, he doesn't say it in those ways, in those words exactly, but that's basically what he says, and he walks away. Now we go backstage, and we have Chavo Guerrero and Zema Ion. Now we know this is the Feast or Fired segment of the show, where basically there will be 4 suitcases, and one of those suitcases, if you open it, you could be basically fired. So it's all being held in the conference room. Zema Ion's being funny, he's hitting that loud horn, being big, obnoxious, and Chavo Guerrero says he's gonna punch him in the mouth. It was actually pretty funny stuff. Now we go into the 2 out of 3 falls, the best out of 3 falls match between Kurt Angle and Bobby Roode. And you know what, man, it was a pretty decent match. I hate, and again, this is my opinion, it's all about opinions here, OneWrestling.com. Leave your opinion here, OneWrestling.com, or YouTube/OneWrestlingVideo. I kind of hate the 2 out of 3 falls matches nowadays. And again, I always feel that it's kind of the same thing, whether it be WWE or TNA. You have to go to a good indie show to see a real legit 2 out of 3 falls match. It's always like a quick pin, and then long, like finisher, and then the guy gets a pin. I never really understood that, but we'll quickly jump in, and I would like to hear your opinion on that. I think that the 2 out of 3 falls match is not what it used to be, but again, that's my opinion. Maybe I'm too old school. But anyway, we have they basically get into the ring, and they start beating the hell out of each other. They end up outside the ring, come back into the ring. Angle actually ends up hitting 3 German suplexes in a row, and then goes for an angle slam. But Bobby Roode is able to slip out of that, and then he actually takes the referee and kind of tosses the referee in front of him while Angle is trying to attack. Referee is distracted. Roode hits a low blow, hits his finisher for the dirty pin, 1, 2, 3. Bobby Roode takes the first pin. And then this was weird, and I'm never really critical of TNA wrestling. You guys know I love it, but we go away to commercial, we come back, and Kurt Angle hits his finisher and gets a pin, all within the commercial. I mean, do you think it was kind of worth actually maybe saving that pinfall for actual television? Again, my opinion. But Kurt Angle hits the we don't know how he came about really getting in a position to hit the finisher, but he does. So now it's tied 1-1. And then the final fall, or fall number 3, we have both guys basically beating the living daylights out of each other outside the ring. We have Kurt Angle, who basically puts the ankle lock, or the angle lock, on Bobby Roode. And Bobby Roode, being extremely shrewd, is able to roll through, hook Kurt Angle's legs, a roll through pin, and then holds the rope for leverage, getting the 1, 2, 3. So Bobby Roode again goes over Kurt Angle. I'm kind of enjoying the the little feud between these two guys. It's good. I think it helps build Bobby Roode even more. Again, Kurt Angle, he's on a losing streak, man. What do you guys think about the Kurt Angle Bobby Roode feud that's developing? And I think it's a pretty good one. Again, these two guys are really feeding off of each other. Now, we go backstage again. We have Cowboy James Storm, and he's backstage with Gunner, I guess showing support as Gunner is actually getting ready to open one of those cases. And Cowboy James Storm says, well, you know, you could be fired. And Gunner basically says, well, maybe, maybe not, which is pretty self-explanatory. Kurt Angle's backstage, and there's a backstage interview segment with JB, and Kurt Angle basically looking totally dejected, you know, saying, look, you know, Roode didn't out-wrestle me, but he did outsmart me. And Roode is I think, the TNA version of the cerebral assassin. That's my opinion. Anyway, so now we have this relatively long, drawn-out segment with Eric Young and Joseph Park. And I'm going to run through this really quickly. Eric Young comes to the ring. You know, he basically, oh, by the way, he's dressed obviously not to wrestle, and Joseph Park later comes out to the ring, and he's not dressed to, well, he's always not dressed to wrestle. He's in that tracksuit. Again, I'm very tired of seeing Joseph Park on my TV screen. So anyway, so EY basically tries to convince Joseph Park to have a match next week, and the match is to be a handicap match versus the best tag team in the business. And whenever you guys are ready, you can worship them as you see fit. But they are the best tag team in the business right now. And these two guys, well, maybe Cody Rhodes and Goldust are getting right there. But anyway, so Eric Young, again, it's a really long, drawn-out segment. I wasn't really entertained by this segment. Eric Young is trying to persuade, again, Joseph Park to break out of that, you know, to become that monster. Obviously, last week he dropped a bomb on everybody. You know, I had no idea, but apparently Joseph Park is Abyss. So, and I've been saying that for weeks on end. And of course, anyone who has their, you know, who knows things knows that Joseph Park is obviously Abyss. But anyway, storyline mode, and we have Abyss, or I'm sorry, we have Joseph Park in the ring, and nothing. You know, Eric Young is bringing steel chairs into the ring. He's bringing thumbtacks, and nothing is appeasing Joseph Park. Well, finally, Eric Young brings back Janice. Do you know what Janice is? Janice is a very large piece of wood with huge nails sticking out of it. And Joseph Park slowly walks up the ramp, kind of staring and glaring at this dangerous weapon. Eventually, later on in the evening, we find out, and next week, that there will be a Monsters Ball match, a handicap match, basically, between Bad Influence and Joseph Park. Not Abyss yet. But anyway, so we move into the Feast or Fired case opening. Now, first and foremost, we have Zema Ion, who opens his first case, and guess what? The young man gets an X Division title shot, which I'm very excited to see. Don't think he's at the level yet to beat an Austin Aries, so but the kid is good, and I like his character a lot. Again, he's a great heel. He's got a lot of energy, and I'm glad the guy came back from the injury. So I want to see where this goes and how interesting it would be between Zema Ion and Austin Aries. But anyway, now we have Gunner. And Gunner opens his case, and guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Gunner is getting a world title shot. Now, the question I have for you guys is, who's he going to fight? Is he going to fight Mr. Magnus, or is he going to fight Magnus Jeff Hardy, or is he going to fight AJ Styles? It could be any one of those three guys. Well, eventually tonight we'll find out that one of the guys will be eliminated. But so Gunner opens up, and there's a horrible, like I said, stare down between the two. God, Cowboy James Storm gave him a dirty look as he walks away. Now they're about to open the final two briefcases. Obviously, one is a tag team title shot. The other one is a fired suitcase. And as they're about to do this, Sting comes in and interrupts, and Sting breaks off on this whole rant regarding EC3 and how, basically, long story short, EC3 is being pampered. EC3 hasn't earned anything, and you know, Sting even offers EC3 a way out. You know, just in case if he's fired, he goes, look, you know, I'll take your suitcase, whatever the fate is, I'll take it. I just want one freaking match. And EC3 stands up, finally does what he does all the time. He goes, nope, I'll take the suitcase. And he does, and guess what? EC3 actually opens the suitcase. And poor Chavo, guys. Chavo Guerrero let go from yet another company. He is gone from TNA Wrestling. He has been fired. Look out for Chavo Guerrero on your independent scene. But, you know, Sting continues, you know, he goes on a rant, you know, prior to this, stating that, you know, the Guerreros have earned their way and EC3 has earned nothing, and so on and so forth. And then, well, while EC3 is celebrating with his aunt, Dixie, Sting just loses it, screaming at them, saying, you know what, it's over, this is it, this is the end, you know, I'm gonna take you guys out, basically, and you, Dixie, I'm disgusted by you. He tells Dixie that he's disgusted and sick of her, basically. Well, anyway, we jump into the ladies knockouts match between Gail Kim, the total nonstop action knockouts champion, and her lady friend, Lady Tappa, versus ODB and Madison Rayne. Quickly jump into it. We have Kim and Madison Rayne in the ring. Kim is basically trying to taunt Madison Rayne now. Before, these girls had a really tight relationship. They were good friends, and they know each other very, very well. And while Kim is getting ready to eat defeat, apparently Madison Rayne knows the book, or is very well astute on the book, that of Gail Kim, and she basically is able to stop the eat defeat, reverse it, roll her up into a backslide for the 1-2-3. So Madison Rayne and ODB go over, and it was a pretty good match. But anyway, we move on, and now we have the TNA World Heavyweight Championship tournament final. And before the match starts, and I knew the match wouldn't start right away because they kind of, I was very doubtful it would be a half-an-hour long match, but you know, Jeff Hardy comes in, he climbs into the cage, and he starts cutting a promo on how, yeah, he's made a lot of mistakes, but you know, he loves this business, he loves his wife, he loves his child, he loves his family, and he is going to represent TNA as best he could. He's going to represent TNA the way AJ Styles did, which Dixie Carter was not too happy about that. Dixie Carter says, you know what, you guys you're both the same. You're both very similar. You know why? Because everything that you guys have right now, I gave you. So Dixie Carter basically says, you know what, I'm going to sit ringside and I'm going to watch you two knuckleheads go at it. And I got to tell you, really enjoyable match. I really enjoyed this match very, very much. Magnus is just he's very good. He's young, but I think this guy is really good, and I see him being a superstar. He's a star now. I see him being eventually a superstar. So, at one point in the juncture of this match, Jeff Hardy climbed to the top of that damn cage and did a freaking whisper in the wind. Perfectly hit, perfectly executed, well sold by Mr. Magnus. Now, I didn't explain this to you, but this is a Dixieland match where you have to escape, not only escape the cage, make your way up the ramp, and then climb a ladder on the ramp and get the belt, which is kind of a different twist. Not too bad. But anyway, again, very hard-fought match. At one point, EC3, both men are trying to climb outside the ring, and EC3 comes and he starts trying to, well, basically stop Magnus. Magnus kicks him off, and Jeff Hardy actually comes to the aid of his opponent, taking EC3 out with the twist of fate. Now, after the twist of fate, he actually hits a twist of fate off on Magnus on the ramp, and Jeff Hardy is walking towards the ladder, nothing in his way except for Dixie Carter, who begins to mouth something. Apparently she's trying to persuade him not to go up that ladder, threatening his job, so on and so forth. Jeff Hardy climbs the ladder, takes off his sweaty shirt and throws it in her face. So he climbs up the ladder, and I gotta tell you, man, little rock star Spud comes out, and this guy pushes the ladder, and Jeff Hardy, you know when you watch wrestling sometimes and a guy takes a pretty bad bump and you go, oh, well, that's what I did. Jeff Hardy took a pretty damn hard bump, and I don't care what anyone says. You guys haven't been in the ring. let me tell you something. That was a very, very hard bump. And Jeff Hardy takes the bump, and Magnus slowly gets up, and he's being cheered on by Rockstar Spud. And he climbs a ladder, and he pulls the TNA World Heavy, the interim, I would say, but they're not going to say interim, the interim TNA World Heavyweight Championship from the top of the, hanging above the ladder. And then, interesting, you know, the heel tendencies are there. We have Magnus celebrating with Dixie Carter. Dixie Carter raises the hand of the new TNA interim World Heavyweight Champion. Guys, this has been Big Ray's Wrestling Show. I am really, really excited to tell you that the Can-Am Wrestling Show this week is up to episode number 10. We will be on Andre CORBEIL's YouTube. And guys, follow my buddy at Andre_CORBEIL. And we will have a very, very, very special guest. I'm not going to tell you exactly who it is. Just follow me on Twitter at Big Ray's Wrestling Show. Actually, at Big Ray Show, not Big Ray's Wrestling Show. That Twitter handle will be way too long. I say this every single week, guys. I would do this for a living, but if I can, I would do it anyway. Why? Because I love talking wrestling, especially TNA wrestling, and I do love me some WWE. Guys, I will fill you in on who this special guest is. He will be on the TNA, on the Can-Am Wrestling Show this week again. Guys, like I said, you can find us here every single week at OneWrestling.com, YouTube /OneWrestling Video. You can follow us on Twitter at OneWrestling. Follow me on Twitter at Big Ray's Show. Guys, check me out this week, because me and Andre, it's going to be a barn burner of a show. Check me out next week for your for the fallout of this Final Resolution 2013. Peace.